Welcome to Sikbaggers YouTube channel. I'm Steve. Today I'm going to be showing you how to install a set of handlebars on a 24 Road Glide back here. Now this is going to be for the 23 CVO or the 24 and newer Road Glides. This set of handlebars right here is from Tab Performance. Yes, I said Tab Performance. They do have handlebars. We've done a bunch of videos in the past for Tab Performance and it's always been their exhaust systems, but they do have handlebars. And Tab Performance was gracious enough to send us a prototype set for the Road Glides. Now the Street Glide handlebars are already done and over on the website, so you can check those out. I'll put a link down in the description to those, but you can go over to the website and pre-order these. Depending on the time, if you're watching this video out there, if you're watching it right when I dropped it, you can go over and you can pre-order the bars. If the video's been on here for a couple of months, more than likely that link is going to take you straight over to the website where you can purchase the handlebars. So I was sitting there planning my videos for the next month, and I just kind of dawned on me that I have like handlebar. I've got all kinds of handlebars to do, and I've already done 3 sets of handlebars and videos here recently, and we've even got more to come after this set. And it's actually really not one of my most favorite things to do. So they're a little bit time consuming and pulling the wires and all that good stuff, but I'm telling you, on the 23 CVOs and the 24s, Harley has actually made it super easy to change these bars. Absolutely no reason to take handlebars to the dealership or to an indie shop to have these put on. This is definitely something that you can do at home. And today I'm going to be walking you through step by step on how to put the Tab Performance Folsom Prism bars on the 24 Road Glide back here. Also, all the tools that I'll be using today will be linked down in the description as well, in case you have to get a few tools before you get this job started. Make sure that you have everything that you need before you start tearing this apart. We're going to be installing it on the 24 Road Glide back here. It was actually purchased for Advan Black to test fit 23 CVO and 24 parts. We do already have all of the new colors over on the website. The things that haven't changed from the older models to the new ones that we already have on the website that actually fit this bike are the tour packs. We have all 3 sizes: Razor, Chopped, and King, the mounting bracket, the 4-point docking system, mid-frame air deflectors, and the hand guards. You can get all of those color matched on those new colors over at advanblack.com. So on the 23 CVO and the 24 models, it's imperative that you pull the main fuse before you do the handlebars. You'll have a check engine light up there. We'll go through the codes and you won't see any codes. It's a weird thing that these bikes are doing, so just make sure that you pull the main fuse before you start disconnecting any wires. At the end of this video, however, I will go through how to clear those codes on the 24. So even though you have an engine light, you go to your codes, you won't see any codes, you still have to clear all of the codes. The main fuse is right here above your ECM. We're going to pull off this little rubber cover right here, and we're going to pull out this 60 amp fuse. So we're going to get this trim ring off right here using a flathead screwdriver. We're just going to get under it and pry it up on both sides, and that will just pop off. From there, you're going to grab a Phillips head screwdriver. You got 2 screws right here. We're going to take these out. Right up top, you got another Phillips screw here. We're going to remove this one. There's a little plastic grommet right there that has to come out as well, so we'll get a little screwdriver under that. We'll pop that up and take that out. Right here on both sides of the cover, you got a 3/8 bolt. You're going to remove this one on both sides. Now this cover is in 2 pieces, so we're just going to get under it and we're going to pry it apart. Now I have to turn the handlebars just a little bit to get this out, but we're going to turn it and we're going to sneak this out of here. Sneak this side out. You take a little plastic pry tool like this, these little clips right here, you can just get underneath that little Christmas tree prong and pop it up. It's just pushed into a little plastic case there. That's going to get our wires up here and also extend them for the taller bars. We've got another one down here on this side. That one just simply pops up out of the bracket. We want to disconnect these, and I got kind of big fingers, so I use a little flathead screwdriver just to push that down and pull it out, and we'll get those disconnected. You got another one over here. So the left side has 1 wire, the right side has 2. So if you look on the side of the risers right here, there's going to be a bolt going into this riser that holds this brake line. Now I've already removed this one so you can see what I'm talking about. It's just this cable right here that attaches to the back of the riser. It's going to be a Torx 27 bolt. You want to remove that, and then you want to do the same thing over on the clutch side too. We need to remove that from the riser so we can use that to extend this cable. Same thing on this side. We're going to remove that Torx 27. Pick that Torx 27 out and you can pull that away from that riser. Right here on your perch clamps on both sides, we're just going to do one. It saves a little bit of time on the video. It's the exact same thing on the other side. 2 Torx 27 bolts right here. We're going to take those out. Before you pull that bottom one, make sure you squeeze everything together so nothing falls. We're going to pull this off the back side, and then right here on the back side of this you have a plug. It's just a pinch connector, so you're just going to pinch down on that back side and unplug it. Now you're going to repeat that process on the other side. Like I said, it's exactly the same. Now from here we're going to remove the handlebar clamp bolts. There's 4, and they're going to be a 1/4 inch Allen. I like to place myself over the handlebars so I can wrap my arm around the handlebars when I take out this last one so it doesn't fall down. I can kind of hold everything in place. You can take this top bar off. Now, when you pull the handlebars out, the wires have to come through this hole in the riser, so don't just jerk the handlebars off there. Make sure you feed the wires through as you pull them off. Now we're going to start disassembling our handlebars. We're going to take the switch housings apart. So you get a Torx 27 here and Torx 27 here. I'm going to pull that back cover off. Now if you've changed handlebars in the past, you'll notice a few differences on this switch housing compared to the older models. Of course, we had that wire that went to the back of the perch. That's new. And then you've got a plug right here, and then you've got an empty plug right here. This is for heated grips. So no longer do you have to run wires all the way through from your grips all the way down to the middle. They simply come in, double back around, and plug in right here. So that made that a ton more easy to do. Right here you have a little thumb piece that you can push down on, and you can remove that clamp. And then you got this plug here, so we're just going to gently push down on that and remove that one, get it out of the way. And then of course we got another one down here. This goes to your new throttle sensor. So we're going to take that little precision screwdriver, push that little side tab in, and pull up and disconnect that. Now this whole assembly comes off as one. Before we go any farther, I'm going to show you how this is put together. The old style had the throttle position sensor in the end of the handlebar. So you had this big long metal sensor with a grip end on it that had gears on it that grabbed the end of the grip. That went in the end of the handlebars and you had to feed the wires through. Now you still have to pull the wires out and feed them back through the new handlebars, but on the inside of this is now your throttle sensor. You can see on the end of your grip is completely different. This has a big notch and a small notch. The small notch is going to ride right here on this little tooth when you put it in. These big notches up here are going to fit in the notches in the end of the throttle sensor. So when you put this back together, make sure that small notch is down, fit in that tooth. We're going to rotate it and we're going to push it in. Just like that. Now that big hole on the back is for this nipple right here to clamp around and go on there. Once again, same thing over here, Torx 27. You got to mind this switch on the back side when you're pulling this cover off. So we're going to gently pull up and then pull away and around that switch right there. So this side we just have the one plug, so we're going to get in here, push this in, pull up on that and disconnect it. On this side you're just going to lift up and slide the entire grip and the switch housing off. Now before I pull the wires out of these, I'm absolutely going to remove these stupid little stickers that Harley puts on there, because that's just going to catch up on everything pulling out and going back in. Then on your throttle side, you remember you've got those 2 wires. We're actually going to pull this wire back, stagger it, and then tape it off like that, instead of making a big double plug like that to try to pull through wires. Now I use Tessa tape. You can use electric tape, whatever you want. I use this cloth tape. You can get it cheap on Amazon. I keep rolls of that stuff in here. Like I said, we're going to pull this back like that. And just run a piece of tape around it so it'll stay there. We'll do the double wire first. You're just simply going to pull on this end and push on this end. They come out of the bars fairly easy. It's like I said, it's just a matter of pushing and pulling. Once you get down to there, make sure to tuck your connector in, and then you just simply have to gently keep pulling until you get this wire out. Once you get it over here to this small hole, be gentle with it. Get it out just like that. Same thing on this side, push and pull. This side being much easier than the other side. Now inside your handlebar kit, you're gonna have this wire loom, and this is used to pull the wires through. It's a very large piece, and this is used kind of like the old school finger trap that you put your fingers in, you pull it, it gets tighter. You can use that if you want. I've done probably 60 sets of handlebars with this piece of string and this nut right here, so I'm going to show you how to do it that way. So the first thing we have to do is determine which side's our throttle side. You don't want to put wires in and realize that you have them backwards. So this is facing you, so this is the throttle side. We're going to do it first because it's kind of the more difficult one. Like I said, these bars, the 24s are super easy now. I'm taking my nut and my string, I'm just going to feed it in, and I can let gravity do a lot of this work. It's already down to here. Then I can turn the handlebars up and just keep feeding that through, and you can hear it falling. Or you can take a little air nozzle like this and some compressed air and blow it through. Once you have it down here, just take a pair of needle nose, reach in here, grab your string, your nut, pull it out. We're gonna take that double end, we're gonna put it in here. We want all of this, of course, up here at the top on the grip. So we're gonna pull this through till I get to the end down here. We're gonna take a piece of that Tessa tape, tape the string to the wires. You wanna make sure that this is tight as you're doing this. You don't wanna be halfway through pulling through and then it gets caught up and you end up pulling your string out. I've always had better luck with this Tessa tape than I did electric tape. Electric tape is kind of stretchy, and this cloth tape doesn't stretch like that, so it tends to hold on to it a little bit better. Got that ready, so we're going to take our string down here at the bottom. We're going to feed our connectors in. Same thing, we're going to push and pull. If you just be patient with it and push wire in and pull on this end at the same time. Sometimes you got to kind of turn them. It's not a big deal. You'll eventually, just like that, it just went around that corner. So we're just going to keep pushing and pulling. A lot of times what's getting caught up isn't necessarily the connector, but it's this rubber sheath that's on this. So we're going to pull these connectors out. You can see I've already got it out. We're going to pull all of our slack out, leave enough down here to make sure we've got enough room to plug these back in to the switch housings. So we're going to take this tape off. That's the hard side, right? You saw how easy that was. So we're going to get our nut in, get it up to that hook point, hopefully get it over, and then just let gravity pull that through. String to the connector. Now that's ready to pull through. You can get it started. Push and pull till we get it around this bend. Like I said, sometimes if you just give it a little twist like that, it helps that connector go around those bends. So same thing again. It's just getting caught up somewhere, so we just kind of push and pull, and now we've already got it out the bottom. So we're going to pull our slack through, making sure to leave plenty of room to plug this back in. Now at this point, if you're going to be changing grips, this is definitely the time to do it. We got some new grips from Harley. We're going to get these out. Look, they even come with instructions. Take our new throttle grip, you can clearly see which one is which. This is going to be our throttle side. I've turned everything around so I can do this a little easier, but hopefully you can still see at home. Now this whole unit goes on as one. So we got a small groove down here, big groove up here, two fairly large teeth on the end right here. Goes into the end of the throttle position sensor. So we're going to take this, we're going to put it in place, making sure that that little groove is on the bottom and that lines up like that. And this is going to go on as one unit. Slide it all the way on. Now on most aftermarket handlebars are not going to have that slot in the back of the handlebar for this peg right here. When you click this on and that little pole right there goes into the hole on the back side of your OEM bars, that keeps your switch housings in one position. You can't maneuver them. And with most aftermarket bars, you're not gonna have that hole. That gives you at home more adjustability to where you want your stuff. That hole is absolutely not needed. We've installed thousands of handlebars without them. You're gonna take a pair of side cutters like this. That is just a piece of plastic. We're gonna go in here and we're gonna snap that thing off just like that. You don't need it. We're gonna take our plug, our black plug goes back down here on the throttle sensor. Gonna plug it back in. The white one goes up here. Now these two plugs are different, so you can't mess this up. The small one's for your heated grips. So if you're doing heated grips, it's a great time to do it right now while you got everything off. Plug those in. This one goes to the back of our perch, remember? Now that we've cut that tab off, we can flip this around and go ahead and lock that into place. Now, any extra wire that is right here, we want to go ahead and pull through the bottom of this. If you've got a big loop here, go ahead and get it pulled through now. We take the back of our switch housing, making sure this wire goes through that groove, and we're going to set it into place. I'm going to start these screws by hand, just to make sure we don't cross thread anything. Turn them where you want them, push them all the way in. Go ahead and tighten these down. Now this isn't going to stay tight until we get the perch put back on, so don't worry about that right now. We're going to get our other switch housing, our new grip. So on this side, on the grip, you've got a large groove and a small groove. The large groove goes on the switch housing, the small groove will go on the backing plate. So we're going to line up that, twist it until it falls into place. So we're going to take our switch housing, our new grip as a whole. Remember, slide this on. So once we get it all the way on, we're going to plug this back in on the back side, push it in, listen for that click. Once again, pulling the slack out at the bottom. This wire that comes out the back side, there's actually a little groove for it here, so we're going to slide this on over our switch in the back there. Go ahead and get this one hand started, making sure that wire is through this little slot right here. We're going to go ahead and run these in. And now our handlebars are ready to go on the bike. I'm going to take you off the tripod for just a second because I need you to see this cable right here. This is our clutch cable. This is our brake cable. And if you look right down here on the side of the neck, you've got this little notch right here that this cable sets in, and then right back here, this sets in another notch. Right back towards the tank, you got a little push lever that you can push on, and you can open this up. You need to take this line and this line out of that plastic. Now these handlebars are listed as an 11-inch. That's the absolute tallest you can go without changing these cables. If you release them from that plastic down there, it's going to extend them up to where they'll reach. The new Road Glides have a 2-inch riser here where the old Road Glides didn't have that. So technically with this 2 inches and the handlebars being 11, you're going to be right at about 13 inches. So we're going to bring our new handlebars over. Make sure to feed all of your wires back through the hole on the bottom clamp. We're going to center them up the best that we can right there. The back side of this clamp does have a nipple on it, and you do have a hole there for it. So we're going to put that in place. Now we've already preloaded up our bolt with some blue thread locker, just a medium strength thread locker. We use Loctite 243. I'm going to get these bolts started. When you're running these in, just go back and forth in a crisscross pattern. So with that set pin inside there, if you want more adjustability out of these, you can pull them back or push them forward. You can grind off that set pin that's on the inside of this upper clamp. Most of the other handlebars on the market don't even have the hole for that. So if you don't want to use that set pin, it's not a big deal. Grind it off. If you push your handlebars more forward, make sure you back your bike off and do a full left and a full right hand turn to make sure that you're not smacking your fairing. We're going to torque these down 16 to 20 foot-pounds in a cross pattern. So we're going to pull the rear of our perch back up into place. We've got that plug on the back side that we need to mount. We're going to set this up on here. Make sure that this plug wire goes underneath and comes back around. And go ahead and start these screws. And once those screws are started, you can go ahead and plug this in. So we're going to turn this around. So we're going to go ahead and get this plugged in. Make sure to push it in, listen for that click. Get your boot covering the connector. Get your grip right where you want it, and then go ahead and tighten these down. Now with this side, we're going to pull our perch back up into place. Go ahead and get our screws started again. Preload these with just a tiny dab of blue Loctite. It doesn't take a lot. I'm going to flip this up into place. Go ahead and plug the plug in. Listen for that click. Make sure the boot's covering the connector. Make sure that when we tighten this down, that wire is not in there and it's not going to pinch and crimp it. We're going to push this all the way in and then snug it up. So now that we have those tightened up, we're going to get back in here and plug this stuff back in. On the right side of your neck, you've got that double plug, so that's going to be the double plug. These are very easy to do. That's going to take the single plug on the left side. We're just going to push all this stuff in. Make sure to listen for that click to make sure it's fully seated. Give it a little pull just to make sure it's on there. Now remember, at the beginning we took those two clamps off that were attached to the risers. At this point you can leave the rubber on the line, but I like to take this little clamp off. This side pops off. The other side you're going to have to take a flathead and spread it and get it off. Just kind of spread that apart and go ahead and pop that one off. So we got everything plugged back in. We're going to go ahead and put the little Christmas tree back in the top of our neck here. You got that plastic piece that those clip into. You can actually zip tie these together if you want to. It doesn't matter. Just keep them down under where the cover goes back on. You're gonna bring your covers back in, and this is a little bit trickier this time, putting these back in, because you have to get them in, and then you also have to get these cables underneath them. So basically those cables have to come in and pull into inside here. So even though they're up here right now, we want to keep them under this. So we're going to sneak this back in. We want to get this cable inside this cover. So just take your time and wiggle it in there till that's inside there like that. I'm going to get this other one kind of snuck in here best we can. This cable here, once again, has to come back and underneath these covers. That's why popping them off that thing on the neck is crucial, so we have enough room to do this. Now, because you've got this cable kind of pushing on this part makes it a little bit more difficult to get this over and on, because you're actually going to be pushing on that cable and it's super stiff. I'm going to pull my tank cover back just a little bit so I can get down here and see what I'm doing. You're going to get that bottom side clicked in, and then you're going to come up here to the top and get that clicked in. Now, to kind of help hold this in, we're going to take that little plastic grommet that we took out that screw goes in. We're going to pull this all together and put that in, and that's going to help hold that front together until we get these back two screws in. Get our Phillips screwdriver, kind of pull this back into place, just because those cables are wanting to push on that, but once you get it all secured, it'll hold it in place. The little screw on top. So now that we have the cowl back on, we got to get our screws back in the side here. Now at this point, this is where you want to make your minor adjustments. If you want to loosen these two bolts here on your switch housing, you can turn this side. Same thing on this side. You want them pretty straight. You want to make sure everything is comfortable. So now from here, we're going to take our 60 amp fuse. We're going to get it put back in. And we're going to make sure everything up there works. Now, I told you at the beginning of the video that if you do have a check engine light, I'm going to tell you how to clear it, because it's really weird on these bikes. Right up here on the top switch housing, you got a circle with 4 little circles on it. It's right above your traction control. It's kind of your information button. You can hit it when the bike's not on. It'll show you your mileage. We're going to hold that button down and turn the bike on, and you'll see that it'll go into the ETM DTC codes, right? So what's going to happen is you're going to have a check engine light, but it's going to show 0 codes all the way down the board. But what you have to do is go into the BCM, you have to clear DTC, click OK, and then you're going to go back. You're going to go down to the ECM. You're going to go into the ECM, clear DTC, OK, go back, and so forth. You have to do that to every single one of these. Like I said, it's a really weird thing that these bikes are doing, but if you don't pull out that main fuse, you will have an engine light. The only way to clear that engine light is to go into every single one of those. Even though it says there's no code, clear it anyway. Once you've cleared them all, you'll shut off the bike, and then when you turn the bike back on, it'll go back into regular mode. Then you should start the bike and your check engine light should be gone. So that's pretty much it on the Tab Performance Folsom Prism bars on the 23 CBO or the 24. There's one other thing I wanted to mention real quick too. On the inside of these bars, I noticed that when I was pulling the wires through these bars, it was super easy to pull through there. I generally kind of dread pulling wires through any hook style handlebars because the inside of the handlebars usually hooks also. So when you try to pull your plugs and your wires around that sharp hook in there, you can tear up a lot of stuff. You can tear up your connectors, you can rip the wires. They're really a pain. On the inside of these bars, it's kind of cambered over on the inside, so it's almost a complete 90. Even though you've got this big hook at the top, the wires pulled straight over and straight through, which really surprised me until I looked down in there and saw that it didn't have a spiky point on the inside that matched the outside. So that is a big plus for me and for you at home when you're pulling these wires, because you're not going to be making up 492 new cuss words trying to get wires pulled through hook style handlebars. Like I said, super easy install on the 23 CBO 24. This is the second set I think that we've done on our channel so far on this model bike, and they've both been ridiculously easy. So like I said, no reason to take this anywhere to have this done. If you want to get your hands on a set of these, like I said, the Street Glide ones are done, the Road Glide ones are pre-order as of right now. And thank you to Tab for sending us out a prototype for us to test on our 24 here. They look amazing, they fit amazing. Like I said, super easy install. We've absolutely loved the Tab exhaust since the first time we've installed them on our Road Glide, and to this day probably 50-60 sets of Tab exhaust I've installed on other bikes around here. So absolutely love their products, and this is another one to add to the list. If this video helped you, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe to our channel. Over 250 bagger and softail related videos on our channel. Tell your friends about us. I'm gonna get out of here, get myself back to work. I hope to see you in the next video, but until then, as always, be safe, keep your knees in the breeze. Hey, thanks for stopping by and checking out our videos today. If you like what you see, make sure you hit that like button, hit the little subscribe button popping up over here. If you want to check out more of our content, I've got 2 videos right here that'll get you started. Not really gonna say anything else, just click one of those videos and take you to another video.